bus stop have to be in the front?
I don't know what I'd do then.
I assume you received the box.
Things will happen. First, someone, somewhere in the world.
Did you get a chance to run that license plate number?
How's she gonna die?
At the beginning of the film, we see Norma and her family, who find a box placed outside their house in the morning. As they leave, Norma notices a man in a black car whom she doesn't recognize. Out of curiosity, they open the box and discover another box inside with a red-colored button. Along with it, there's a letter stating that Mr. Stewart will come to meet them at 5 in the evening. Until then, they set the box aside and continue with their routine work. Norma, a school teacher, is called to the principal's office, where she is informed that her salary will be reduced due to a financial crisis at the school. While delivering the news, the principal's nose starts bleeding, but Norma doesn't notice as she is lost in her own worries. Later that evening, Mr. Stewart arrives at her house. Half of his face appears to be strangely burned. He introduces himself as the one who left the box outside their home. Norma invites him inside. Mr. Stewart explains that this is no ordinary box. If they press the red button, they will receive $1 million, but someone they don't know will die. He hands Norma $100 and the keys to the box, giving them until the evening to decide. If they don't press it, he will take the box back. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Norma's husband, who works at NASA. He receives disappointing news that, despite passing all physical tests, he cannot go to space because he failed the psychological test. Saddened, he returns home, where Norma tells him about Mr. Stewart's offer. Norma debates whether to press the button or not. Ignoring the potential consequences, she eventually presses the red button. At 5 p.m., Mr. Stewart returns and hands him a briefcase containing $1 million. Shocked, Norma's husband doesn't want the money and tries to return it, but Mr. Stewart has already driven away. Before leaving, Norma's husband notes down the car's license plate number. The scene then shifts to reveal that an unknown woman has died. When the police investigate her house, they find her terrified daughter hiding in the bathroom. It's later revealed that the woman's husband was responsible for her death, influenced by mysterious circumstances linked to Mr. Stewart's test. The story then follows Norma as she visits her father's house for a party. Among the gifts, her husband finds the same box that had appeared at their house. Inside, he finds a picture of Mr. Stewart. During the party, a student of Norma's stares intensely at her husband and subtly points at him. Suspicious, her husband asks Norma's father to investigate the car number. As the party continues, both Norma and her husband experience dizziness, and Norma's nose begins to bleed when she speaks. This unsettles them further, prompting them to return home. Outside, they notice a sign on their car that reads an "O exit." Adding to their fear, like a T home, they find their son's nanny asleep. When Norma's husband offers to drop her off, she suddenly faints, her nose bleeding as well. Upon checking her ID, he realizes the name doesn't match. It seems she was sent under a false identity, hinting at a deeper conspiracy involving Stewart. Later, Norma's husband discovers an old photo album in which Stewart's picture appears, confirming Norma's growing suspicions. She seeks her father's help to track down Stewart and learns that the car that delivered the box was registered under the government's name, not Stewart's. Meanwhile, Norma's husband learns about another woman's murder, which occurred at 4:45 p.m., the exact time Norma pressed the red button. Could Norma's decision have caused her death? The connection seems too precise to be a coincidence. Norma visits a mall with her mother, where a stranger tells her not to worry and reveals that all the people being tested are couples with a child. The stranger gives Norma a small piece of paper with numbers on it and advises her to visit the library that Norma's husband, meanwhile, visits the crime scene with her father and finds another photo of Stewart with a library shelf number written on it. Both eventually go to the library, where Norma finds a newspaper clipping related to the day humans first landed on Mars, hinting at a possible connection between Stewart's experiments and the space mission. All the scientists were very excited as they prepared for their mission to Mars. Stewart was among them, and during a photo session, he was struck by a powerful lightning bolt, leaving severe burns on his mouth. Meanwhile, Norma finds a recording in a library. As she plays the video, it shows Stewart and his team preparing for their Mars mission, with Stewart's face appearing unscarred at the time. While watching the video, Norma suddenly feels a strong pull upward. As she ascends, she encounters Mr. Stewart, who holds her hand, causing her to faint. On the other side, Norma's husband, who is leaving the library with a book and newspaper, notices everyone around him staring intently. Suddenly, Stewart's wife appears and confronts him, asking what he wants. He replies that he just wants to escape. She then leads him to a strange room with 3 water portals. She explains that if he wants to leave, he must choose one of the 3 portals, each offering an unknown fate. Remembering a hint from a boy at Norma's father's party, who signaled 2 numbers, he chooses the second portal. As soon as he touches the water, it pulls him inside. Meanwhile, Norma regains consciousness in bed and sees a similar water portal in front of her. As she touches it, she finds herself submerged in water, and her husband suddenly falls onto the bed beside her. The scene cuts to 2 new characters, NASA officials, discussing Stewart. Here, the film reveals a major twist. When Stewart was struck by lightning on Mars, he was declared dead and placed in the morgue. However, he miraculously revived, with all his injuries healed except for his mouth. Now, Stewart manages several government institutions and possesses a box capable of determining life or death. When questioned about his motives, Stewart explains that his goal is to test humanity's greed. If someone presses the button, they fail the test, and as a result, someone dies. The scene shifts to a wedding party where Norma and her family are guests. Suddenly, Norma's husband falls ill and leaves the party. Their daughter notices him leaving and follows him, while Norma follows their son. Soon, they realize their son has been kidnapped, leaving Norma terrified. Elsewhere, the man who killed his wife at the beginning of the movie holds Norma's husband at gunpoint and forces him into a car. He reveals Stewart's sinister game, explaining that he had to kill his wife because Stewart kidnapped his daughter and controlled him. Every time Stewart manipulated him, his nose bled, a side effect of Stewart's mysterious powers, possibly linked to the Mars incident that Norma's husband demands to know where his son is, and the man tells him that Stewart likely took the boy to a hotel with a special pool functioning as a portal. On their way to the hotel, a truck crashes into their car, seemingly another part of Stewart's plan. The man dies on the spot, and the military takes Norma's husband to NASA headquarters. Reunited with his wife, they return home in the same black car that had once delivered the box. Still confused about everything, Stewart arrives at their house and offers an ultimatum. Their son is alive but trapped, unable to hear or see anything. The only way to save him is for Norma's husband to kill her. If they refuse, they can keep the $1 million but lose their son forever. In a moment of desperation, Norma accepts her fate, asking her husband to end her life to save their son. With a heavy heart, her husband kills her. At the same time, somewhere else, another couple presses the red button, causing Norma's death, showing the interconnected cruelty of Stewart's test. Norma's husband is arrested, but their son returns to normal. In the post-credits scene, the cycle continues as Stewart leaves the same ominous box outside another family's house, ready to test them next. Thanks for watching.